everyone! So for this video, we're going to be looking at Bus Games Miro Board as well as the Notion project setup. So let's get started. Welcome to the Bus Game Miro. Look how large it is. It's taking everything a while to load, and I'll take you through section by section. So to start, I wanted to just have this kind of intro section for the new collaborators that would join. So we've got a link to the team wiki as well as the tasks, both on Notion. And then I had a section about the bus, how to play, and a little photo gallery of the prototype evolution. And you would have seen all these in a previous Patreon post. And yeah, I haven't updated this in a while because that image is quite old. But we can get started with Character Town. So yeah, so this whole little frame here, whole big frame, has all the character development stuff. And I will put a little spoiler that you'll get to see you get to see all the characters colored, though it's not their final color palette. Some of them are going to change, but still, this was a fun surprise for you here. Each frame started out with a reference area. So in this one specifically, I went through Eden's portfolio, pointing out the stuff I liked, and then I also pointed out some of the stuff I liked with Animal Crossing. And basically from there, we went to having a long column like frame for each character so that I could capture the timeline and capture the process of what it was like to work on these characters. So you would have seen this breakdown of Nico in a previous video that I did, and I could not have done that video without documenting everything here in Miro, because I definitely revisited this, went through my thought process and how we work together. So it was really helpful for that. But I guess this is a behind the scenes on how that looks like. And you can see that I have things dated just to understand the progress and the timeline. And yeah, Eden and I communicated a lot here. Most of the process here was Eden would send me stuff on Discord, and then I would post it in Miro and then add sticky notes and let her know that feedback's there waiting for her. And then she would do some variations. So we did that for each of the characters, as you can see here, and basically went through them down the line. From there, once all the black and white versions were done, it was important for me to review the character art with the full character card. So where it would have the character name, the ability description, and the flavor text. And as a team, we would look at it. So here it was really important to bring Emily, who's doing the writing and the narrative design, to bring her into the conversation as well, for her to give feedback on the character art too. Because I think until then we were pretty siloed, everyone in their own departments doing their own thing. But we do need to have moments where we come together to make sure everything is gelling well. And yeah, so from there we did shared some notes, and Eden made some updates to the characters. And these were the almost final black and white versions. There are a couple that have changed. Then yeah, from there, Eden just smashed through the colors. So yeah, these are the colors that we have for the characters, and it's really fun to see them go from the very beginning early sketches to this. And like I mentioned, a few of them are going to be changing from what you see, but nevertheless, super exciting. So that is the character land. I think the next good place to go is probably the action cards. We did some art tests to figure out what the art style of the action card should be, because we nailed down the characters, but now we had to see what would a coin look like in this world? What would a free bus ride ticket look like in this world? And from there, Eden and I made some art rules, mostly Eden, but I just helped document. Having these rules there is super useful because we brought on a second artist, Zoe, who has been working on the action cards and been doing an amazing job. There's about 19 unique action cards. Some of them, like the coins, I kind of grouped in as one, because it's like once you make one coin, you can just duplicate it in different variations to have cards with multiples of them. But yeah, from here, I just kind of grouped them each into categories of like money groups, bus groups, travel groups, and then just a random miscellaneous group called last. And Zoe went in and did a bunch of sketches on these. And yeah, it was really fun, a really fun process. No buses on fire. We don't support bus violence. Yeah, so from there we've whittled it down, and got this version of the action cards. So in a similar process we did for the character art review, we did the same thing with the action cards and brought Emily in as well and brought Eden as well. And of course, Zoe was there and myself. And we all needed to look at it from kind of our expertise, but also needing to look at it as a whole. So yeah, we gave our feedback here, and currently Zoe is working on the version 2 of these, so doing a bit more thorough and developed sketches. So I'm very excited to see what those are going to be looking like. And coming down here, so my husband Nick, as he's lovingly referred to, is also an artist and a graphic designer, and he wanted to play around with the card design, the visual design. So this was his very first iteration. You can see it was done in October 2025. And at this point, we only had Nico as the character. So that was the only piece of art we had to work off of. And there's a lot I loved about these designs, specifically like the pastel color palettes, the pattern, the graphic pattern in the background. But then he also wanted to explore some other art styles. And though I don't know if this quite matches the look that I'm going for, I'm still really happy that he spent the time to do this, because these styles are quite different, and it's just really nice to have them to go off of and identify what I like and what I don't like. Now I feel like we've done a good amount of exploration, because we even did I had my old references here, as you can see that I've archived. We've done a good amount of exploration. Now I kind of want to have the baton passed to me so I can do some designs and try and weave the art styles together. I think that's definitely going to be the biggest challenge, is having a lot of people working on something and seeing how we can unify the art styles. But as someone with a background in UI design, I'm very, very excited for this challenge, and very excited to see what we can come up with as a team for these card designs. So moving on, I think the next thing that we focused on were the environment design. And by that, I mean the board design, the map. So I went through a big reference gathering point for this. So you can see Richard, I'm going to say Scary, but in my brain, I've always been saying scary. But now that I see the two R's, I think it's a tall A, but yeah, one thing I love about his visuals is all these animal characters, and there's like fun little scenes going on. People are interacting with each other, and that's really what I want the bus game world to look like as well. But I also want it to have a balance between that and, I guess, kind of communicating that it's not just a kids game, because this is a children's book author. And though I think kids already love the art style of bus game because of the animal characters, I want to make sure that it also screams that this is a game for adults first, because the target audience is basically me and my friends. We love cute shit. And yeah, I think that's the goal. I think that's where I was going with that, is I want the art style to say that this is for adults first, but of course kids are able to come play as well. So we gathered a lot of different kind of art styles, and this is something the map's definitely a big in progress right now. At the moment, I don't think I have showed anyone, I mean, besides people in the team, these wonderful sketches that Zoe has done for the locations. So right now we're trying to figure out, what is the art style for the locations? How are they going to look on the map? Oh, I hate that my middle scroll bar, sometimes if I touch it the right way, it will go backwards, and I don't want it to do that. But anyway, back to this. So where was I? Yeah, so Zoe's been doing these amazing location sketches, and the next spot we're at is trying to figure out how to lay them out on the map, on the board. So that's something I am taking on right now. We've decided to go for this kind of each location facing its corner, so that way it's not right side up for one player or all upside down for one player. Everyone's going to have something a little skewed no matter where they're sitting at the table. So yeah, this is my imaginary table, and these are my imaginary players here. And I guess each location will have the art kind of in a diagonal like this, and then the icon down below so that it corresponds with what's on the journey card, which has the icons as well. Don't know if I spoke about these yet, but all these icon sets are from Font Awesome. I need to do a little plug. I'm laughing because every time I talk about Font Awesome, Nick always tells me it's like I'm reading an ad. But really, it's always been my go-to place for free icons. But yeah, they have a bunch of free icons, and they have some paid ones as well if you're looking for icons in a different style. So yeah, these have been amazing placeholders and great inspo. So from there, let's travel on to Busland. So for this, I worked with my friend Megan, who was the 3D bus artist. And I knew that I wanted 3D buses, but obviously to make this game, I can't hand make a bunch of clay buses. So I had assumed in my mind that, okay, I guess it'll be plastic. And we worked on 3D models. Megan and I did a lot of back and forths with it. And here are some very exaggerated bus shapes. And I did end up having it 3D printed. My brother-in-law, shout out Eddie, thank you for printing this bus out and surprising me with it on my birthday. I literally gave him the file either that day or the day before. It was such a quick turnaround. And he just bought a house and was moving. So I wasn't expecting it to be this fast. But yeah, thanks, Eddie. But yeah, so I was like, oh, cool. It'll be this plastic bus. And then when I was talking to the manufacturer, turns out it's quite expensive to have a custom plastic mold. And they had suggested I go with wood. And yeah, so we had to completely scrap all that work for the 3D bus. But it wasn't all bad. I don't have the updated shots, but we basically had designed like the front and the sides and what the tops would look like. And this is kind of like the UV, if you will, if you're familiar with 3D modeling and texturing, the UV of the bus, and it'll have certain cutouts. Yeah, and so Megan did all that. I just haven't uploaded it to the Miro yet. So womp womp, you cannot see it right now. But yeah, these are the wooden models that the manufacturer had sent me, which I feel like is going to really lean into the wonky bus shape because the wood's not going to be, all perfect. The paint might not be all perfect. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the buses will look like. So we've done the characters, we've done the map, we've done the bus, we've done the action cards. I think the only thing left here is probably the box art, which I haven't gotten too far. Right now, I'm still in the reference collecty stage and trying to figure out what kind of scene to depict on here. And Eden did some quick sketches, but we've had to pause that so that Eden could shift her focus to the character art. But yeah, so basically this entire Miro board has been so handy in me organizing my thoughts and me organizing any references that pop into my feed that I will screenshot and put in here. And it's been a great place to document my journey as well, which I think when you're working on a creative project, it's so important to do that because I think it's quite easy to forget how hard that you've worked on something or what the process that you've taken to complete something was. And it's just nice to be able to, I guess, go back in time and look at it here. Welcome to my Notion. I am not going to be clicking on everything here. I think some stuff is still a little bit secret, but also I just don't know how interesting it will be if I were to show every single thing. I think project management isn't the most exciting thing for everyone, but I will just show you a quick overview of how I've organized this project. So basically, I've chosen to display all my tasks on a monthly basis, given that this project is something I'm doing in my spare time, having, I guess, my sprints, if you're familiar with that term, if you're a game dev, you know. But yeah, having my sprints being on a monthly timeline is quite helpful for me. So that's the reason I have decided to do it by month. I've done it for all of my other team members as well. So you can see that Emily is this month focusing on playtesting Bus Game because I have finally sent over some printable files for her and she lives all the way in Germany. So yeah, she hasn't played the game since the last time I saw her, which was before she moved. And I needed to get a copy of the game over to her in the cheapest way possible, which was to send her all the digital files so she can print and play it. And Emily's also this month focusing on the marketing language review. Very similarly, all the other collaborators are on a similar kind of monthly schedule. And so you can see Eden's been focusing on coloring characters, though she's basically smashed them all out now. So I think I'll get to move all these to June, which will be really exciting. Besides tasks, I also use Notion for the game design doc, my kind of living, breathing document. This is where I have all the cards labeled here with their title, what their description is, their card type, any appendix notes on them that I would either put in the rule book or in an appendix. I also have put all the art in here, and this is mostly for, it's documenting for myself, but also when Emily was working on this, I thought it would be important for her to be able to see the art and how it would relate to the text that she was writing. And very similarly with the characters as well. We took a similar approach there. And I've also got the rule book here, which is an in-progress rule book. I basically edit this as things change. If there's a huge overhaul, I will eventually make a version 3. But yeah, this is how the rule book is organized. I'm trying to keep it as organized as I can, just so when I have playtests, I could just print this whole thing out and have it easy to reference, so that it's not just a bunch of like my random thoughts. And then I've also got a team wiki. So when all of my collaborators joined, I wanted them to have a small onboarding experience. And I just have a team wiki here that has all the information that people need to refer to. You can see something is outdated here. It should be Rulebook V2. But I've got some handy links and kind of our expectations on how we will be working together and, how to communicate hours, how to initiate payment, and just kind of introducing everybody to everybody else, seeing where people are located. Yeah, I made a point about burnout because everyone that works on this game is a contractor. So they have other jobs, other projects that they're working on. And this project is probably the most flexible project out of all of them. I just want to give everyone the same expectation that this was a go with the flow kind of project and that we can take breaks if we need to. And it's okay. It's not about getting things done super quickly and in a rushed way. Some things I'm working on are how to talk about bus game, mostly for myself so that I can stay consistent with what I'm saying and how I'm describing bus game. And that's something I will be having Emily help me out on. And other than that, I think I've got my feedback, I've got meeting notes, and that's kind of the gist of how I have organized my Notion. I guess if I were to compare the two, Miro is more of like my visual kind of project board where anything goes. It doesn't have to have a ton of structure. But then Notion is my area where there is a lot of structure. And it's nice to have the two tools to go back and forth on. All right, everyone. So that does it for the bus game, Miro, and Notion tour. I hope you enjoyed seeing the overview of how things are organized and just a bit about how we've been working as a team. So I spoke a little bit about burnout earlier, and I'm bringing it back up because I will be taking a break from bus game. So for me, I've been feeling a little bit of a dread anytime I have to work on this project. So that is a flag to me that I need to take a break. And I have a trip planned later this month with my husband. So I'm really excited to just kind of get back into living life and not doing a side project. And yeah, I will be back when I'm back, maybe in a few weeks, maybe in a month or two, and looking forward to sharing more about what I'm up to with bus game at a later date. In the meantime, thank you for watching and for supporting me. And yeah, I will see you later. Take care.